our second in a series of Humanity for All webinars on this 3rd of December International Day of Persons with Disabilities, and it's a great pleasure to see so many people joining, and really a great moment, and we'll hear from all of the speakers about so many important things happening in the organisation, in the IFRC network on this. I am a white middle-aged man with a beard and very little hair on my head. I'm wearing a blue and white shirt, and we're trying to just describe how we look for those people who are joining with visual impairments, who can't see on the screen, so that they can really be engaged in the meeting. With that, we have, as you see on the screen, a number of wonderful speakers. We're going to hear about the development of the Reference Centre. We're going to hear about the development of the working group, and we're going to hear about a lot of different wonderful actions happening. So let me hand over with that, as people are joining rapidly, to Jagan, and ask you please to share your thoughts on this important day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen. Dear colleagues and friends, today, as we gather on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, I'm filled with hope. I don't consider this day just as a day for celebration. I believe that this is a day for call to action. It is a reminder that when we embrace inclusion, we unlock the true potential of every individual in our communities. Before I continue, for those who cannot see me, I'm from Nepal. I look brown with really white silver hair and also white beard. I do have few scars on my face because of chicken pox. And I have a beautiful background of fountain in Geneva Lake. Colleagues, let me continue with a small story, a story that moved me very deeply. It's the story of Patricia Chungo Mulo, a volunteer of the Zambian Red Cross Society. As a child, Patricia lost the use of both her legs due to polio. And thanks to the support of Zambia Red Cross, Patricia has become a powerful voice in her community. Today, she is a leader, an advocate for women's empowerment, and someone helping to strengthen her community's preparedness for disasters and health emergencies. Patricia once shared, "With the introduction of this project, I experienced a profound sense of belonging and empowerment and encouraged. That when you are determined, you can accomplish anything." Her words remind us why we are here today. When inclusion is real, people can rise, lead, and transform their communities. At the IFRC, the idea of a Disability Inclusion Reference Center grew from several conversations and initiatives. A year ago, I personally witnessed the strong work of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. I hope Dr. Yunus is here. He showed me around. I saw the work they have done in deaf education, sign language promotion, physical rehabilitation, and in vocational training. And we began discussing how their experience could be shared more widely across the IFRC network. At the same time, the Turkish Red Crescent launched a working group on disability inclusion, inspired by their own journey to have more inclusive programming, more inclusive volunteering. And we know very well that the Finnish Red Cross has been championing disability inclusion for many years already, and the Finnish government has been a global champion on this issue. We also heard so many examples of exceptional work in national societies across the world and the desire to do more on disability inclusion. And it became clear we could create a place where national societies can learn from each other and support each other. That is how the concept of a unified global reference center took shape. Last year, I spoke about the need to make disability inclusion part of our organizational DNA. This year, we have seen some real progress. We have heard inspiring examples from Costa Rica, Guinea, Bangladesh, South Sudan, Burkina Faso, Mali, Nepal, Indonesia, and many others. I cannot name every national society here. It's showing what is possible when inclusion is truly prioritized. We launched the Building Blocks Guidance Note that gives the real essence of how to make our programs more inclusive in incredibly practical ways. We strengthen our partnerships with disability-focused and disability-led organizations, Special Olympics and CBM in particular. We stood at the Global Disability Summit and reaffirmed our commitments to do more and to do better. And for me personally, and Stephen, you were with me there, attending the Global Disability Summit in Berlin was a deeply eye-opening moment. It reminded me of the progress we have made and of how much more we must still do. I left feeling inspired, but also determined. The reference center together, which we are building together, is more than an administrative structure, colleagues. It is a promise to set standards, provide expertise, and strengthen partnerships. It is our place to turn our words into action, guided by our Strategy 2030 and our protection, gender, and inclusion policy. Inclusion must become our reality, not just our aspiration.
هلا
Sorry, there is a noise. Can you all switch off your microphone, colleagues? Thank you. It is our place to turn our words into action, guided by Strategy 2030 and our protection, gender, and inclusion policy. Inclusion must become our reality, not just our aspiration. And leadership will be key. The Palestinian Red Crescent will host this center, sharing decades of experience. The Turkish Red Crescent will continue to lead the advisory working group, driving technical excellence. And many other national societies like Australia, Finland, France, Kenya, and Canada have joined this journey. And today we celebrate their engagement and we thank them for their engagement. But the center's success depends on all of us. We need your ideas, your needs, your expectations, and your willingness to contribute. Together, we will shape a center that serves everyone it is meant to support. As I close, I return to Patricia's story. Her transformation from adversity to leadership is the spirit behind this center. Let us build it together so that no one, anywhere, is ever excluded again. Thank you. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you so much, Dragan, for these inspiring words and so much for your commitment over the past years to this important issue. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm sure it may be not possible in the current busy time for you to stay for the whole session. So we of course understand if you have to leave for other things, and very greatly welcome the intervention. Thank you so much. We will, as you asked whether Dr. Yunus is here. He's unfortunately not able to be here in present. He did want to be, but he had to travel to New York. But we do have a video message from Dr. Yunus, and then we also have a video message from Yena, one of the board members from the Turkish Red Crescent. So we'll hear from those speakers now by video, and then we will continue with the rest of the session.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yunus Al Khatib. I'm the president of Palestine Red Crescent Society. I'm in my late 60s, but still young in heart. Good morning again, partners, colleagues, and friends. I warmly welcome all of you in this very important event, which is being organized on the occasion of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Your presence today demonstrates the collective commitment of our global network to advancing disability inclusion. And we are grateful for your contribution and engagement. In this occasion, I warmly congratulate all persons with disabilities and celebrate their resilience, achievements, and contributions to their communities, while reaffirming our commitment to their inclusion and participation in all aspects of life. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizers of this webinar for their dedication and efforts. This includes the International Federation of the Red Cross Red Crescent Societies, Palestine Red Crescent Society, the Turkish Red Crescent, and colleagues from the supporting national societies, Australian Red Cross, Finnish Red Cross, Canadian Red Cross, and Kenya Red Cross, and everyone who contributed to making this webinar possible. This webinar represents a significant step in the preparatory process for the establishing the Reference Center on Disability Inclusion. It not only contributes to shaping the center's vision, objectives, and operational framework, but also plays a crucial role in promoting its mission and raising awareness about the importance of disability inclusion across the IFRC network and beyond. We are honored that the Palestine Red Crescent Society will host this Reference Center on Disability Inclusion. This initiative builds on our extensive experience in disability inclusion and specialized rehabilitation services, and represents a unique opportunity to share knowledge, strengthen capacities, and advance inclusive humanitarian action across the International Federation network. Once formally established, the Reference Center will serve as a collaborative space or a hub that gathers the most effective practices and accumulated knowledge, supporting the development of unified methodologies for disability inclusion across the Federation network. I would like to reaffirm that the Palestine Red Crescent Society is fully committed to supporting this initiative, the Reference Center on Disability Inclusion, and to providing all the necessary resources and expertise to ensure its success. Disability inclusion is not a temporary project for us. It is an integral part of our humanitarian mission and institutional identity. I thank the organizers once again for making this event possible, and I thank all participants for joining. I wish you a productive and engaging session, and I look forward to the outcomes and recommendations that will emerge from today's discussions. Good luck and thank you very much.
Sevgili Kızılay, Kızılaç ailesi. Ben Yener Tanık. Kızılay Engelsiz Koordinasyon Kurulu Başkanı. Kızılay Engelsiz, İyilik ve Yardımlaşma, Engel Tanımaz anlayışıyla 2021 yılında kuruldu. Hedefimiz engelli bireyleri sadece yardım alan değil, topluma aktif katkı sunan gönüllüler olarak güçlendirmek. Kurulduğumuz günden bu yana Türkiye'nin birçok ilinde faaliyetler yürüttük ve bugün sahada 117 engelsiz başkanımız görev yapıyor. Her biri kendi ilinde erişilebilirliği, kapsayıcılığı ve gönüllülük kültürünü büyütmek için çaba gösteriyor. Vizyonumuz Türkiye'nin her yerinde engelleri aşan, eşit katılımı güçlendiren, sürdürülebilir bir gönüllülük yapısı oluşturmak, ulusal derneklerle bir arada olmak, işbirliklerimizi güçlendirmek ve daha kapsayıcı bir toplum için birlikte üretmek bizim için çok kıymetli. Burada bir arada olmamızdan büyük memnuniyet duyuyorum. Engelsiz çalışmalara verdiğiniz değer ve gösterdiğiniz hassasiyet bizim için gerçekten kıymetli. Gayemiz iyi örneklerimizi siz değerli Kızılaç ailesiyle paylaşmak ve IFRC çatısı altında engelsiz gönüllülük anlayışını daha geniş kitlelere yaymaktır. Bu manada hepinize çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Because what we wanted to do, it was hear from Turkish Red Crescent and Palestinian Red Crescent to really share a bit about the experience, about the motivation, about the interest, and about all of the how we ended up in this exciting moment where we're looking at developing a reference center with the working group included within it. So we'll hear from, as I said, the leaders as soon as we can get the technical problem fixed. But in the meantime, maybe we'll just slightly change and go to the next section and to hear, we're starting with to hear from Palestine Red Crescent, from Dalal, who's joining us, and I think Dr. Hatem, who is in Gaza, and so as we did sort of expect, we might have a connection problem, and I don't think Dr. Hatem's been able to join us from Gaza. Dr. Hatem, are you with us? Think not. So then we'll hear from you, Dalal, and to be interviewed by Ceren from Turkish Crescent. And let me not waste any more time. Hand over to you, Ceren, to ask Dalal some questions about the development of the reference center.
Thank you very much, dear Stephen. Dear colleagues, this is Ceren, woman humanitarian in mid-30s. And I have brown eyes, my hair is tied up, and I have a purple shirt and dangling purple earrings with a red wall behind me with a portrait of Atatürk. First of all, I would like to thank you all, especially to Palestinian Red Crescent, who had such a big commitment to disability inclusion, particularly under such challenging conditions. And this is also inspiration to our whole movement. And as Turkish Red Crescent, with our advisory role in the advisory working group, we are hoping to provide a technical expertise, which we already had been utilizing in our services for the disability communities, and also through our trainings and with our barrier-free initiative, which my colleague will soon inform you. So my first question here is, dear Dalal, could you please share an overview of the history of the disability inclusion in PRCS?
First of all, I would like to thank everybody for actually attending this very special session today, marking the International Day of Persons with Disability. My name is Dalal. I am totally blind. I am 51, like I'm middle-aged. Anyway, I work in the Palestine Red Crescent Society as the head of continuing education and lecturer in the University College of Ability Development. Concerning your question, PRCS has been for decades working on rehabilitation, disability, and developing inclusion. We're beginning in Lebanon in 1982, in the 80s, when the late Dr. Fathi Arafat was the president at the time, decided that there should be a rehabilitation center opened in one of the Palestinian camps in Lebanon. And then also they were working on opening a prosthetic factory as well. And interestingly, at that time, Dr. Fathi was very alert to the idea of inclusion. So he insisted that the person who would be responsible for the prosthetic center should be a person who's amputee himself, which is great, which was marking the beginning of the inclusion, part. And then things developed from then. In 1984, PRCS had to move to Egypt, and of course, PRCS had to move to Egypt, so they started working on a rehabilitation center in one of the Egyptian neighborhoods. And also not only working on a rehabilitation center, but also decided that there should be qualified staff or qualified people to work with persons with disability. So that's where the beginning of the University College of Ability Development started as an institute for rehabilitation studies, until it became the special education and rehabilitation. And I will elaborate on this, or if Dr. Hatem comes, maybe we will both elaborate on this just later in my answer. In 1994, of course, as you all know, the peace accord started and everybody went back to Gaza, and PRCS went back to Gaza. In 1996, there was the first PRCS conference, which was held in Khan Yunis, and the opening of the new building in Khan Yunis, which is the south of the Gaza Strip. One of the main recommendations of the conference is to open a rehabilitation center and to work on rehabilitation centers for PRCS. And ever since then, PRCS started working on developing a new rehabilitation services, occupational therapy, vocational training, sign language for people with hearing disability, physical disability. We have 35 centers throughout Palestine, Gaza, and the West Bank. And so that's how from then things developed. After that, in the 2000s, they started working on the including persons with disability not only within the rehabilitation services, but also with activities of the PRCS, and initiatives started on working with guided by the International Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, where there have been taken accessible measures for making elevators, or making sign language signs for people with hearing disability, working on sign language dictionaries so that persons with hearing disability can be able to communicate. And we could speak a lot about all the initiatives, a lot of the initiatives that PRCS have worked upon. And then now we're coming to, of course, the reference center, which hopefully would be a big and also a good step in the policy or in inclusion of persons with disability. I think I hope I answered. If there's anything where I forgot, maybe.
Bella, this is impressive to see that how much and how long the PRCS has been working in this issue, has been giving a purse for this issue, and it's very exciting to see that you will have the lead for this such a great initiative we will have in the coming period. So based on what you mentioned, would you please elaborate more about the capacities and knowledge, skills that PRCS will be able to bring through the reference center?
The PRCS has been, as I said, working for decades on disability and inclusion, and especially PRCS has been working in very appropriative situations, very challenging situations, where they were started in the diaspora in Lebanon and Syria, and then went back to Palestine, where there was also challenges of the Palestinian occupation and all these things. So PRCS, through these challenges or through these things, PRCS was able to actually initiate skills that we could help with. beginning with the and one of the most important is the CBR, which is community-based rehabilitation, where PRCS is working on, or they're working for reaching out people in different situations or different places, especially rural areas, where the occupation is making it very, very difficult to transfer, for people to move around. So we have this work. Also, we have we're working as I said, we have the college where we could work on training programs for training programs where we work on qualifying people to work with people with disability, sign language, also diploma in sign language, where people will translating sign language, so deaf people are able to to work. Also, we have a lot of initiatives, especially the last 2 years on the Gaza Strip, the war on the Gaza Strip, where there has been displacement, where there has been people lost their houses, people got killed. So PRCS has played a very big role, especially in working on initiating which is called a camp, where there are which is accessible for persons with, especially with hearing disabilities, where not only their family and their families, not only that getting basic needs, but also getting community activities and the sign language, so that they are able to to be part of the situation. Also, we have, as I said before, we have physiotherapy, we have physical. We have educational services. We have a school for the deaf in the West Bank in Ramallah, and we have also the PRCS school in Khan Younis, where it teaches students who are able to finish, complete their education, and if possible, some of them could enter either vocational training or universities within the community. That's, I think, I don't know if I think that's basically, these are the skills that I think PRCS would have also, in spite of all the challenges, and we can work on coordinating efforts within the reference center.
Thank you very much, dear Della. So what about hopes? So would you please tell more about your hopes for the reference center?
Well, my hopes, our hopes.
If you can be a bit brief on this one, Dalal. I know there's many hopes, but then we have to hear from Shirin as well.
I'll just give a very, I think for me, forever, I think that the main hopes is to coordinate efforts within the national societies on exchanging experiences, exchanging skills, developing the policies of inclusion within the national societies. I think this is the main hope. I'm trying to be brief. So that's basically what I think.
Thank you very much. I think, Steven, we can just a bit mention the TRCS side, the working group and details. So I will hand over
I was going to ask you to Dalal, who'll now ask some questions to Leila. Exactly. Thank you, Shirin.
Thank you.
But now, so great to hear from these wonderful speakers. We've heard from Jagan, Dr. Yunus, and now from Yana, board member. That's very inspiring and great to frame the conversation that we'll continue now. So Dalal, I'll ask you to, you had some questions that you wanted to ask to Leila, I think. Please go ahead.
So, hi, Leila. The first question I would like to ask, would you share with us an overview of disability inclusion and your working group in Turkey, in the Turkish Red Crescent?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Leila Tursum Aru, and I'm joining you today on behalf of the Turkish Red Crescent. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to be part of this important conversation. Just to help make the space more accessible and inclusive for everyone, I'd like to give a brief visual description of myself. I'm a woman with light skin, short blonde hair that reaches to my chin, and I wear brown frame glasses. I have Slavic features, and I'm currently sitting in my office. Behind me, it's a Turkey flag. It's red with a white crescent and a star. And I'm really looking forward to today's exchange, to listen, to learn, and to share our journey with all of you. And when we come up to questions, thank you, Dalal, for asking that. I'm really happy to share our history. For us, disability inclusion at the TRC really started from the things we witnessed on the ground. At first, like many national societies, we began with small adjustments. It's simplifying training materials, improving physical access in our venues, things like that. But over the time, we realized something important. Inclusion cannot just be a technical add-on. If we truly want to be inclusive, it has to become part of how we function as an institution. So the turning point, honestly, was during the pandemic. We had persons with disabilities coming into our branches saying that they want to be volunteers too. They were saying, like, give us roles. And that motivation really moved us. It shifted our perspective, actually. And once we started including persons with disabilities more intentionally in our volunteer programs, camps, community activities, we saw it really clearly. Accessibility and meaningful participation weren't optional, they were essential. And that's how Kızılay Engelsiz, our Kızılay Barrier Free, was born. And what began as a small volunteer-led inclusion eventually became one of these, our 3 core volunteer models of our organization, alongside youth and a woman. And today it's not just a project, it's a foundational part of how we engaged with community. And from the very beginning, our focus was to design things with persons with disabilities, not for them. And that mindset shaped everything. And we are really proud to bring that experience into this global conversation right now. Just to give you a bit more structure, we now have a dedicated barrier-free coordination office at the headquarters. They are responsible for national awareness campaigns, managing strategies, coordinating special events, and even developing internal regulations. And this unit is staffed by full-time professionals. But the heart of the model is 100% volunteer driving at the local level. Everywhere the structure exists in branches across the country, we have volunteer teams. And each team has a minimum of 3 committed individuals who are disabled. And right now we have established this model in 42 provinces and 75 districts, which means 117 active local teams. And that gives us at least 351 core volunteers. And the real number is much higher when you count all the other supporting these efforts. I'll also add this. We have a national digital volunteer platform called gonuluol.org, where people sign up and choose the areas they want to contribute in. As of today, over 45,000 volunteers have indicated that they especially want to engage in activities related on disability inclusion. And that number alone tells us a lot. People care and they want to help. And our role is to build the system that let them do that in a way that's respectful, inclusive, and impactful. So I hope I answered your question with this.
Well, you're muted. You just have to unmute.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Leila, for this very good historical overview. I like your statement that inclusion is not just a technical add-on, which is very interesting. The second question I have is what related capacities, skills, and knowledge that the TRC as the Turkish Red Crescent could share within the Global Reference Center?
Yeah,
we'll
that's really
have to be a little bit brief, Leila, if you so much
I will
to say,
try
but,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really important questions. I'm happy to answer. I'll try to keep it briefly. Most of what Turkish Red Crescent can offer to this working group comes from real hands-on experience. And over the years, across many different programs and volunteer contexts, we have tested things, adjusted things, and slowly built a better understanding of what inclusion looks like in practice, not just on paper. And one of our key areas has been making our volunteer systems more accessible. We have tried different methods, adapting training materials, simplifying language, improving communication, and making small but meaningful changes in a volunteer role so that persons with disabilities can contribute fully. All of this has shaped our actually barrier-free structure. So we also created specialized trainings, for example, first aid modules specifically designed for volunteers who are blind or have low vision. We make sure there's time for tactical learning, for touching and trying this equipment, and for practicing in a safe space that doesn't rush anyone. Another area that we are proud of is operational accessibility. One of the examples is our barrier-free refreshment vehicle, which video we will be able to watch after the Q&A. That's a mobile unit we use in both regular events and emergency responses. It has a wheelchair ramp, braille signature, and audio guidance for people with visual impairments, and color-coded alerts for those with hearing impairments. This is not just a symbolic project. It's really designed so that volunteers with disabilities can actually take a part in a service delivery right there in a field. But actually, for us, it's not just about the tools. We also worked on how people work with people. For example, we built a full module on communicating with volunteers with disabilities into our volunteer ethic and management training. And this is mandatory for all the staff who work with volunteers. Looking ahead, I mean, I'm trying just to be briefly, I have some notes, but I'm just trying to pass. When we look ahead, we are planning to develop preparedness module tailored for persons with disabilities, especially to strengthen readiness before disaster strike. And we believe that the barrier-free volunteer structure is not about engaging volunteers. It's also about informing future service design. Their feedback help us identify real gaps, and those insights will shape how we build stronger, more relevant services in the future. So really, our role is clear: not speak for people, but listen well, remove barriers, and build system with them, not around them. And of course, we are not claiming to have a perfect model. What we can share is a set of tested practices, practical tools, and most importantly, a willingness to keep improving. We really hope that through this working group, we can support and learn from each other as we keep moving forward. Hopefully it was brief enough.
Thanks, Layla, for this very good answer. The last question is, what are your hopes for the reference center?
Yeah, that's a question I think many of us in this space have been reflecting on for quite some time. And to answer it, I find it hopeful to look back for a moment. So, you know, when we first started working on disability inclusion, it wasn't part of any official structure. It came from field experience, from direct interactions with people who simply wanted to help. And we didn't have a formal model or a global framework to lean on. What we had was feedback, real, sometimes uncomfortable, but always honest feedback. And it came from the persons with disabilities who said, we want to be part of this, we want to do something. That's where our work began. Slowly, we turned the feedback into structure. We built something with people, not just about them. And as we moved forward, we realized something important. We weren't the only ones trying to figure this out. Across the movement, so many national societies were doing incredible things, but often in isolation. So we were all working in our own corners, facing similar challenges and trying to reinvent the wheel in different places. So if we'll be back to the question, what do I hope this working group and reference center can do? I really hope it becomes the place where we finally connect those dots, where we take all the local experiments and pilot projects and turn them into something bigger, something we build together. I hope it becomes a space where strategy and field reality finally meet, because we have all seen how often there's a gap between these two. Policies are written, but the people implementing them in the field are left with more questions than answers most of the time. And we need to translate those big global goals into a real, assayable tools, things a branch can apply, things a volunteer can understand, even in a crisis. And I hope this working group play a central role in doing just that. I also hope we move beyond participation and toward shared leadership. Inclusion doesn't mean inviting someone into a meeting. It means giving them power, space, and influence in program design, in evaluation, in decision-making. And I would like to see persons with disabilities not just contributing to this working group, but leading part of it, because their voices are not just valuable, they are essential. And when I think about the gaps, I keep coming back to accountability. How do we know if our systems are truly inclusive? How do we create feedback loops that actually works for everyone, not just the people who can send an email or fill out the form? What does accessible communication really look like, especially in an emergency, when people are scared, overwhelmed, and possibility cut off? There are these kind of questions I hope this group will be brave enough to tackle. But most of all, I hope this space become one of place of the solidarity, not just another technical platform, but a space where people can share honestly what worked, what didn't work, what they are struggling with, a space where we are not competing to have the best model, but collaborating to make each other better. We have knowledge, we have experience, and what we have is a momentum. If we can put that together with humility and with purpose, I really believe this group can help shift not just how we think about inclusion, but how we live it.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah,
thank you too. Thank you too. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you, Delal. Thank you for guiding us in that conversation. Let me move us a bit swiftly on, because we have so much to share, and that means, of course, as usual, time is short. And we did want to hear, and it'll have to be quite brief, from our other supporting national societies. So we'll ask you to try to be, it's an exercise in conciseness, and let's see how well we can do. But to hear from, we have representatives from Kenya Red Cross, Finnish Red Cross, Australian Red Cross, and Canadian Red Cross couldn't join us, but shared some remarks. But let me go first to Wilson from Kenya Red Cross, the Disability Inclusion Focal Point. And Wilson, if you could just share a bit on what are your hopes for the development of the reference centre, and what are one or two key things that you think Kenya Red Cross can bring from your experience?
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. My name is Wilson, and just to describe myself, I'm Black from Kenya. I am putting on a white shirt and also wearing glasses with black frames. Yeah, so from Kenya Red Cross. Not on,
Wilson. If you can turn your camera on, at least we can't.
My camera is on. I hope you can be able to see me. Please, if you could just confirm.
No, but never mind. Keep going, and we'll see if we can make it out. Yes.
All right. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And from my end, finally, I'm happy that this has already kicked off. And from our perspective, we are actually looking at this as an opportunity for us to be able to strengthen technical capacities, especially across the IFRC networks. And with this, I believe that the reference center will be a center for us to provide specialized tools in terms of also, giving us standards and technical guidance, especially around the training packages and also guidance that will be able to help national societies. And with this, I know that learning from our experience will be able to also systematically mainstream disability inclusion across all our operations, as my colleague has actually mentioned from the Turkish Red Cross. Aside from that, it will also create a single and at least authoritative hub for quality assurance and also technical advice, not actually also forgetting innovation. Secondly, I'm also looking at it being a platform for us to harmonize approaches. And this is because I know that we have some guiding principles, but again, based on the contextual issues that come from different countries, again, we'll be able to have a common framework that will be guiding us again under the umbrella of the PGI principles, and also be able to speak the same language across the IFRC family on disability inclusion. The third particular benefit for us is that we hope that this is going to enhance inclusive humanitarian action. I'm saying this because as we speak, Kenya Red Cross is currently chairing the Inclusive Humanitarian and Climate Action Subcommittee, especially on the Interagency Disability Inclusion Advisory Group within the country. And for us, we are just trying to align by the Global Disability Summit commitments that we actually by, and therefore this will be an opportunity to be able to integrate cycle all the way from preparedness to response to recovery, and also making sure that our social protection systems are actually are stable. Last but not least, Stephen, I just want to mention that we have an opportunity, at least for us, to drive innovation and learning. And as a colleague had mentioned earlier, this will serve as a platform for us to, test, pilot, and also scale up new models, such as, inclusive, accessible early warning systems, inclusive community engagement, and also how we'll be able to also, kind of plan for reasonable accommodation within our DREF. And we hope that this is going to be scaled up across many other national societies. Last but not least, again, partnerships. I think we've really learned a lot as IFRC family. We've worked hand in hand with CBM Global amongst many other partners, site savers, name it. But then for us, this will be a good opportunity for us to partner with OPDs, governments, and also donors. And therefore, this will also give us a confidence to, put up multi-country proposals, again, and aside from that, also strengthen donor confidence, which I believe will be able to open up opportunities for us to jointly resource mobilize and also have a long-term investment around inclusion. So I think those will be my submissions for now. Back over to you, Stephen. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Wilson. Always fascinating to hear about the progress and development and engagement of Kenya Red Cross. So that's wonderful. Moving on to Finnish Red Cross. Suvi, thanks for joining us. And again, sorry to rush for brief remarks, but we do want to hear from the other people joining on, your hopes and desires and interests for the reference centre. But before we get to that, Suvi, Finnish Red Cross has been a huge supporter of disability inclusion for many years in many ways. What's the one main thing that you really hope that will change by developing this reference centre and working group that we've been discussing?
Thanks, Stephen, and hello, everyone. So my name is Suvi Virkkunen. I work as the head of knowledge development and advocacy in the international aid of the Finnish Red Cross, based in Helsinki. I'm a middle-aged woman. I have light skin and hair, and I'm wearing glasses. Today I have a striped shirt, and the background is digital. It looks very much like a very rich and modern apartment, but it's unfortunately not my home. but happy to be here today, and really congratulations to everybody on the International Day, and for colleagues for organizing this event. Yes, as said, Finnish Red Cross has been long-standing supporter of this area of work, and we welcome every effort in the IFRC network to strengthen disability inclusion in all of the humanitarian and resilience work that we do. And it's with great interest and enthusiasm that we are following now this process to set up a reference center. For us, it has a great potential for bringing much needed visibility, cooperation, and ambition to this area of work that has historically received less attention than what it deserves. 16% of the world's population have disabilities. In every society, there's a large population with various disabilities, and in many situations they have the disproportionate risk of vulnerability. So that's sort of the background with which we come to this. And I think this is more timely than ever because of the humanitarian sector development sector in a huge transition due to the shrinking budgets, historically high needs, and a huge pressure on efficiency. And it's more than critical to ensure that disability inclusion does not disappear from our collective priorities in this, but rather strengthens. I have 2 points about the perspective on the basis of the experience that Finnish Red Cross has had, and I guess Finland as a whole, as a society, has had, that I hope that we keep in this discussion. And the first is the social inclusion aspect. It's important to place social inclusion at the center of our approach, and this means exactly what Leila was mentioning earlier, that we ensure that persons with disabilities participate fully, safely, and meaningfully in all aspects of community life. And this means inclusion, participation to our resilience building, disaster risk management, early warning, early action, anticipatory action, humanitarian response situations. And therefore, it's about identifying and removing the barriers that are either physical, institutional, attitudinal, or communication barriers that may limit that participation. It's about not responding only to individual needs, but to transform the environments and systems that create exclusion in the first place. And I think that's really, really important for us to keep in mind. That this reference center has an opportunity to shift this mindset across the movement. And the second point I wanted to raise, which was also mentioned by colleagues, is the fact that we have persons with disabilities and their representative organizations at the heart of this initiative. While we may not be able to invite external actors directly into the governance or management structures, we can and should formalize pathways to ensure that their voices shape the priorities and direction and ways of working of the reference center. And we can do that through regular dialogue opportunities or advisory inputs through existing partnerships, feedback loops from OPDs that are already collaborating with many of us, and integrating the lived experience insights into our tools and standards and learning materials.
Thanks, Suvi.
Thanks.
Yes, sorry, go ahead. Good. The last point?
You want me to stop? Yeah, just to say that it's really, really important that we utilize this opportunity to set up the reference center and make our movement contribute to the wider humanitarian and resilience system with this experience and message as well. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Suvi. All such essential points, and thank you so much for mentioning the importance of the nothing about us without us principle. Something I think, as we can see, we still have a long way to go in the IFRC network in having generally. We could do better on inclusive recruitment practices, and certainly that's something I hope that we'll develop with the reference centre. We still want to hear from Australian Red Cross, but I think Leanne has got disconnected. Leanne, are you with us?
No, I'm here.
You are. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, then please, if you want to just share a couple of thoughts from your side, and then
Yes, of course.
and then go ahead and we'll move to the Menti.
Okay. You won't share the Canadian Red Cross video?
If you just share your thoughts first, then I'll share
Okay.
the video, and then we'll go to the Menti.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Stephen, and hello, everyone. Just as a description, I'm a white middle-aged woman. I have medium-length straight blonde hair, glasses, and a colourful top today, and it's getting quite dark in Tasmania, where I am on the other side of the world. I'm representing the international programs team of Australian Red Cross, and here we're undertaking a lot of work to both improve our own processes around disability inclusion, but also we do a lot of work to support our partner national societies to be more inclusive in their own programming and response. So for me, I think the biggest benefit of the reference centre is that it's really giving us something that we've been missing, like a structured global platform for disability inclusion, where national societies can learn and share with each other. And like Suvi has just said, like it really helps us to have real visibility on this issue as well. And because right now efforts are there, and there's some amazing activities and programs that we've heard from today at Turkish Red Crescent and Palestinian Red Crescent, also Kenyan Red Cross and Finnish Red Cross, but they're quite scattered, and so there's not a clear way to learn and share with each other. So we really need a way to join the dots, as Layla put it earlier. And I really like the idea of bringing consistency and harmonization to this space so that national societies are not having to reinvent the wheel. We're learning from each other, and we're able to share from each other. And while there might be sort of sectoral hubs, I, for example, have been involved in a lot of work around shelter and disability inclusion, but like a more general hub so we can learn across sectors, I think, to be able to share technical expertise, practical tools, training and learning from other would be a great advantage. And then to have the working group as an excellent complement to this, keeping that centre grounded in practice, It's important that we can bring together the expertise from across the movement so that the guidance isn't theoretical, but it actually sort of reflects what works in real emergencies and programs, and make it beyond that technical add-on, but really part of what we do. And as Stephen, you've just reiterated this as well, but really hoping to see persons with disabilities in positions of leadership and decision-making in these groups, and really coming back to that at that point around visibility, but also nothing about us, nothing for us without us. And so, as I said, I'm coming from the international programs team in an Australian Red Cross, and like we're really committed to making progress in this area. We do have experience, as I said, in shelter and settlements. We've worked at a global level trying to enhance how we do shelter programming. And we've been trying to update global guidance and training and different things. And we're really, one of our other really big focus areas is around disability data, trying to move from ad hoc inclusion to evidence-based programming. And both of these things, I think, will be really great topics for us to sort of tackle within the reference centre and the working group, and understand how we can work together to make these things even more impactful. And I also see this as a chance to connect our disability inclusion teams from the domestic side with the global work and learn from others. So yeah, we're just keen to share what we've learned and also learn from each other. And I guess just making sure that we can move from this fragmented efforts to a coordinated movement-wide approach, and so that disability inclusion is a standard, not an exception. So very excited about this, and I will wrap up because I know we're running out of time, but Thanks all for joining us.
Very much, Jan. And
so it's such an important issue, and we're really excited to be able to contribute and be involved and also learn from others. I think it's really important to be able to learn from others and to reduce duplication of effort where possible. We're all on the same journey, but many of us are at very different places. And so I think it's such a great opportunity to be able to hopefully, bring everyone up to a certain standard, and really have people be able to leverage the information and resources as they get to that place within their journey. So I think it's a really important initiative, and we're really excited to be involved. We just did our Vision 2030. And as part of that, we established our ambition, which is to show leadership in building a proactive, equitable approach to the delivery of humanitarian services and to amplify the collective impact we have on the lives of those that we support and serve. We do this through a variety of channels across the Canadian Red Cross that is supported by multiple teams. That includes mainstreaming PGIE across our programs and services, both here in Canada and in partnership with other national societies internationally in the different programs and services we provide. We also do advocacy and research and prioritizing inclusivity for our staff, volunteers, and personnel. In our quality policy, one of our core quality standards is accessibility and equity for our clients, which ensures that we continue to strive to proactively remove barriers and to improve access to clients across all of our service lines. Absolutely. So we are partnering with Accessibility Standards Canada and the Social Research and Demonstration Corporation to develop next generation accessibility standards to reduce the effects of climate change related events on people with disabilities. And so the work is led by funded by Accessibility Standards Canada, and Social Research and Demonstration Corporation is partnering with the Canadian Red Cross and some other localized disability inclusion networks to really understand deeply the effects of climate change related events on people with disabilities, and to come up with some standards to help reduce the barriers and improve the experience. Internally in 2022, the CRC launched a diversity, inclusion, and belonging team that supports really the long-term sustainability of the Canadian Red Cross to ensure what we do is equitable, how we work is inclusive, and who we are really represents the diversity of the communities we serve, and we want everyone to feel like they belong. This team really works to reduce barriers to equity and inclusion, and enable diversity like at all levels of the organization across all of our geographies and in every service we provide both domestically in Canada and also internationally. We also have several services dedicated to supporting those with accessibility and mobility challenges in our community health and wellness team. We have a health equipment loan program that offers safe and cost-effective health equipment loans to clients, such as wheelchairs, walkers, canes, that type of thing. Food security programs that ensure access to food for individuals that may not have access to quality nutrition, and often that is due to mobility or mental health issues. We also have hospital to home service that supports clients to make the transition back home. So we've been doing this for a number of years. We've developed some strong standards. We know what programs are most valuable to our communities, and we're happy to share some of that, some of those standards and SOPs around those different pieces, as well as all of our work making sure that our services meet our PGIE standards and ensure inclusivity across everything we do. Cool. I'm sad I can't be there and speaking with you all. I think this work is so great. It's so inspiring to see all the different societies that are excited about this and engaged and want to contribute. I think as this moves forward, we'll see more different societies picking this up and coming and joining the effort. So I think it's going to be a really important journey.
Great. Thanks so much for your time then, Morgan. But we really do want to hear from those who are attending, and so let's go to that now. So this is Leanne will take us through this Mentimeter. I'm just going to get it sharing on the screen, and hopefully you will be able to see it in just a second. Over to you, Leanne.
Thanks so much, Stephen. And as Stephen was saying, we really want to hear from all of you. So hopefully you will be able to contribute to the Mentimeter today. I can see that it's having a little bit of a trouble loading, at least on my screen. So I might try and just copy and paste.
I'll do that.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot. We just want to make sure that we can hear from each of you. And once we can get the option to we can, okay, there's the, if you can go to menti.com and then put in the number 5584.
Or just click the link that's in there.
5107.
If you can see the link, you're able to access the link. There's a link there, and there should be a QR code on the screen, but perhaps that's not working. But the link and the code should work fine.
Okay, that's great. And just to give you a quick kind of overview of what we're talking about, you know, we have talked both about the Reference Centre and the working group today. And just to clarify about that, the Reference Centre and the Advisory Working Group are working together. So the Centre will provide governance, coordination and services, where we're hoping that the working group offers a lot of technical expertise and peer learning, but they complement each other. So it's together forming a unified global engagement platform for disability inclusive humanitarian action. And so that's what we're trying to get some ideas from you on what you think that you would like to see from the Reference Centre and the working group today. So can everyone actually see the first question? Have you been able to enter into
the question? Yeah, I was just waiting for people to join. So I think we've got most people in now, and we'll go to the first question. And you should be able to vote directly in your Teams. If you're not able to use the link, you can also should be able to access it directly in Teams if you're on a computer at least.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. So the first question is really broad. I mean, for all of you on the call, having heard from some of the speakers today, but also thinking about your own work, what support would be the most important from the working group and Reference Centre? So at the moment, we've got one response: learning guideline rules. Yes. And I think these are really important. I think having those shared guidelines, being able to learn together, really important. Anything else? We've got tools. Yes, definitely tools. Peer learning. Absolutely. Training, capacity building and advocacy, best practice, visibility, guidance and training, peer reflections on challenges. So that's great. We've got lots around engagement and peer learning from each other. And these are all parts of the aims that we are hoping for from the Reference Centre and working group. Supporting inclusive humanitarian and climate action. Yes. Global connections. And Global Connections is really interesting. We had a call earlier this year around all the work that different national societies might be doing with CBM, for example, in different countries. And I think being able to link into some of those specialty organisations and disability are really important. Other best practice. This is excellent. Yep. And if you can scroll down a bit, Stephen, I can see that on my screen there's things like common standards, technical support. Yes, definitely sharing experiences. So there's very much a lot on sharing experiences across the movement, providing a shared approach. And a very good point that has been made a bit further down is discussions on what has worked well and what has not. I think this is something that sometimes we're not really good at, is sort of sharing our not so great tries, but being able to learn from them. So I think that's really fantastic. A database with all the useful tools. Yes, latest updates. Using disability data to improve program design. Absolutely, that's a key thing that I'm very keen on myself. Disability inclusion guidelines, sharing visits. Yes. Oh, and a regular document as a compilation on the movement's work on disability inclusion. I think that's a really good one as well, because even hearing today the wonderful work that the different national societies are doing, I think that's a really good thing. And to be able to share that work is super important. I think we've got a few messages in the chat for maybe people can't do the Menti as well. Supportive environment for all, sure. Yeah, that's great. Peer pressure to improve. I like that one. Yes.
Let's maybe
I think that's
move to the next one. That's really excellent inputs, though. Do keep adding other points in the chat, but we have got a couple of other questions, so I'll move us on to that
yes,
next
that would be
one.
great, Stephen. Thank you. So the next chat is more kind of next question, I'm sorry, is more about like rating which services you would like to receive. So if you can just sort of pick which ones you'd most like to receive more. So there's capacity building and technical support, knowledge management and learning, peer learning and exchange, advocacy, partnerships, resource mobilization and sustainability, and links with other areas of work. So you can rank them yourselves. Oh, looks like capacity building and technical support is very high, which is good. Resource mobilization and sustainability also high. Advocacy, partnerships and humanitarian diplomacy, excellent. It looks like everything seems very important, which is also good because we do want that we are able to offer many of these services. But hearing from you will help us to target like where we first put a lot of that effort. So definitely capacity building and technical support I can see is going really well. And then knowledge management and learning, advocacy and partnerships. Yeah, that's really
I
great.
don't know if you can see that in the corner, but that's 16 out of the 90 people attending. So you get a prize if you do vote, which is that we all thank you very much for your participation.
Exactly.
But do keep going.
Oh yes, we need more than 16. If we
can,
we need to get to at least 20 before we can move to the next question, I think.
Yeah, the 20th voter gets a chocolate. Okay, that's great. And it's starting to capacity building and technical support starting to take the lead. So if anybody thinks peer learning and exchange is more important and you want to have your voice heard, now is the time.
Exactly. Put it number 1.
I think we maybe, yeah, okay, 21. That's good. We're still concerned about the silent majority in the call, but we'll have other opportunities to engage. All right, maybe
absolutely.
30
go to the
more
next
seconds
one.
on that one.
Yeah.
Can we get to 23?
And feel free to put it in the chat if we. Oh, sorry, Stephen. Yeah, feel free to put it in the chat if you think of it later. If you're spending some time thinking about it. But it does look like capacity building and technical support is very much out in front there at the moment.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Right. So in this one, it's more about how we can deliver that. In what ways should the reference centre and working group provide support? And you can choose all of the ones that you think should apply. And some ideas we've had are things like remote support by experts, but then another one is face-to-face support. So, both of those have a place. Developing resource materials, training toolkits, that kind of stuff. Given the capacity building on the last slide, I can see that that's also looking like it might be quite high. Developing policies and frameworks, and then obviously other. So if you pick other, we will be asking you to let us know what that other is, because we're really keen to know how else we could support and what other ways that the reference centre and working group can provide support. So at the moment remote support by experts is out in front. It's closely followed by developing resource materials, which aligns quite well with the capacity building and training from the previous slide, as I said. Face-to-face support is also up there, so that's good. We don't have any others at the moment. It'd be great to hear from you if you think there are other ways that the reference centre and working group could provide support. What's missing for you in your work someone has said other. Would you be willing to talk to that point, whoever said other? Feel free to come off mute.
We'll have another question on that just after, so we'll go to that'll be the last question.
Yep. Okay. How are we going? We've got 22. Oh, someone's come off mute.
I was keen to comment. Yes.
Maybe.
Reanimated. That's excellent. Okay, I think we reached our quorum there of 23. So 23 very engaged people, and we'll be following up with everybody else. Okay, so we've got one more. Okay, that's great. So resource materials being the most important, and then remote support by experts. That's fascinating. I mean, we often, it's IFRC. We call it core business, right? Is to develop these resource materials and so on, which does mean there's a lot of them sometimes. And sometimes we're like, do we really need a new toolkit, a new training?
Yes.
And it's interesting to see that. I think we want to do that if it's needed, but we want to make it as useful and as engaging as possible. So that's something we'll come back to. Dalal, if you can just mute yourself, please.
Yes, okay.
And we'll go, I think, to the last question, Leanne.
That would be great, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yes. So, because we didn't have that the answer to the other, but maybe the person can put that in the chat. So the last question is, what would your national society like to contribute to the development and running of the working group and reference centre? And this is where we would just like you to share your thoughts. You've got a bit of space there. You've got 200 characters to write something. So could it be, sharing experiences of your own program? Could it be helping to build partnerships? What kinds of things would your national society like to contribute, or could they contribute?
For this one, of course, we're interested to hear anonymous thoughts of like the type of thing that you think your national society might want to contribute. If you're also wanting to commit to a specific contribution, you're welcome to put it on the screen for all to see here. You're also, of course, very welcome to contact the organizing group of the reference center. So myself, Palestine Red Crescent, Turkish Red Crescent, and so on, and make some proposals or some, if you want to have a conversation about specific contributions, we're of course extremely happy to hear that. But you're also welcome to just put some brainstorming thoughts down here that you maybe aren't ready to commit to, but would like to share there. It's all welcome.
Absolutely. And I think that experience sharing and peer exchange, for example, that's part of why we want to have this reference center and working group. So that's great. Experience sharing, peer learnings, of course. And that collaboration and partnership with OPDs, I think it's really important, because being able to talk to each other about how to manage those relationships. We've had a lot of national society conversations recently around how do you set up an MOU with an OPD in country, for example? How do you make the connection with those organizations? And so there's the kinds of things that we can also share and think about what is working well. TRC will actively support coordination, share inclusive volunteering models, help develop practical tools and peer learning. All of those are excellent. I think that the inclusive volunteering model, I think it's something that many national societies want to hear about. Developing knowledge products together on the basis of practical experiences. Yes, absolutely. Exchange and learn and advocate and promote. Very good.
I think, Leanne, what we could do now is in the last 7 minutes is let's let these comments keep coming in on the screen. But if other people want to ask a question or make a comment, open the microphone and make a question or a comment, you're very welcome to. We have just a few minutes whilst people are maybe typing in some other thoughts. So, anyone have a question or a comment they wanted to make? Yeah, Suhair, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Suhair.
This is Suhair, Palestine Red Crescent Society. I'm a woman in the mid-age. I have brown hair, and now I'm wearing a red blouse with BRCS logo. As Dalal said, BRCS is working in a protracted situation, and we face many challenges reaching the people with disabilities and persons with disabilities. So BRCS take many initiatives in this situation to try to reach the people with disabilities and provide them with the needed services. In Gaza war, newly, do you hear my voice?
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, okay. BRCS during Gaza war take many initiatives to try to reach the persons with disabilities and to provide them with the needed, their needs, because they are the most vulnerable in the war. And it's very difficult for them to reach the humanitarian response and humanitarian services. So BRCS initiated what we called Smile of Hope Camp for persons with disabilities and their families, where we have about 100 tents and having all the persons with disabilities and their families in this camp. The idea is it's very difficult to reach them in all the places during this destruction and the situation in Gaza. So we have this camp and we provide them with food, with hygiene, and also we provide some rehabilitation services like training in sign language and also some psychosocial support. In addition, yesterday, BRCS also launched a rehabilitation field hospital with 100 beds, and mainly it's for providing rehabilitation physical services for persons with physical disability and for the injured. So we can share these experiences with our national societies during the reference center, because all the time we have challenges and we try. Of course, our experience is different from the Turkish Red Crescent experience. Of course, we are working on inclusion. We are providing specialized rehabilitation services, and at the same time, we're trying to do initiatives to include the persons with disabilities on all our programs, like providing sign language interpretation in all conferences, all meetings, even meetings and conferences and workshops organized by other organizations. In addition, we also try to include, we provide the opportunity for persons with disabilities to participate and to be active members in the Special Olympics and Paralympics, and also in other extracurricular and creative activities. We think that working with persons with disabilities to include them in the community and to provide them with equal opportunities, it's first working with the persons and develop their capacities, and at the same time provide the facilitate their inclusion in the community through awareness, capacity building for their communities, for families. So we work on both sides. We work on specialized services, and at the same time, we try to make all our programs inclusive. Of course, we couldn't claim that we are inclusive in everything, but we have a lot of initiatives towards this issue, to be more inclusion for persons with disabilities. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sahir. So important to hear about those experiences. We have one other hand up and we have 2 minutes, so I'll just ask you, Daniel, to make his quick comment, and then we'll have to close, unfortunately. We'll see a 1-minute video, and it's great to see all of these inputs coming in on the contributions. I think you can see them on the screen, and we'll get back to you on that. Daniel, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I'm Juma Daniel from South Sudan. I'm black in color. I have a goggle in my eyes. And then I have a wrist t-shirt and a gray jacket. I'm very grateful for today meeting in a special day of disability. This is a time for us as for advocacy to advocate for the voice and for the voiceless, especially the person with disability. I'm very grateful for the day. I have just 3 areas that we need to be looking into. One is the barriers that the person with disability face across our operations. This, in terms of accessibility, when it comes to accessibility, the issue of the infrastructures, like education, infrastructure, the roads, the employment in the different area, the social barriers, the health, and other financial support. Now, if all this we include into our programming, being a disaster or whatever kind of forms or developmental projects, we'll be able to support these people who are so much vulnerable because of the different disability that they have. And now, I'll wish this forum will also use an advocacy process to lobby for support for the person with disability. That'll be great, because these persons are so much affected. When it comes to disaster response, when it comes to emergency, they're more vulnerable in most of the situations. And if we lobby for support of this, like for us in the PGA in South Sudan, we integrate these the disability aspect in the area of the PGA, which are very, because we don't have a civic project tackling this disability, we integrated the PGA. So I'll wish this to be a forum for us to be lobbying, because in this meeting, the number of people that are attending, this will be great. I'm very thankful for these meetings, and we have really learned a lot from the facilitators and also colleagues who have been presenting, who have been speaking. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Daniel. That's, I think, we could, of course, keep going all day. I think everybody here would be happy to keep discussing many things. Unfortunately, time is short, but we've heard wonderful contributions from all of the national societies involved, starting with Palestine and Turkey. We heard from Kenya and Finland and Australia, and briefly from Canada, and now from South Sudan, and great to have had your inputs into the Menti, and a great participation from the core group. We'll certainly look at those inputs and be very helpful in the development of the reference center as we and the working group. And as we heard earlier, we're still in the development phase. That's why we wanted to hear from you. It's it doesn't exist yet. We're building it. As you've heard, we've been come a long way along that journey, and we still have some way to go. So that's why we wanted to hear these inputs and these suggestions, and that's been really great. I would like to close just with sharing this a really wonderful video from Turkish Red Crescent on one of the camps. So here, you wanted to say something before we share the video and close? You have your hand up? Yeah.
No, sorry, I didn't
it's okay.
take it off. Okay.
Okay, no problem. All right. And those of you who still have access to the chat after the meeting, please do put a comment in the chat. Otherwise, do contact me. You've, of course, all received the invitation, and you can write back to me. And if you want to communicate with someone else, you don't have their contact, send to me, and I will share it. But with that, let me hopefully not crash the computer when I show this video. And this is, do you want to just say very briefly later what this video is before I play it?
Surely. Yes, this is one of the camps that we make for disabled volunteers. It was actually the volunteers with autism with their families, while we had a camp for volunteers having fun over there. We had the psychological support for their families. It was fully great and really colorful camp, as we just named it, Colorful Words Camp, and I hope you will enjoy it.
Mersin Silifke'de Renkli Dünyalar kampımızın son günündeyiz. 97 katılımcımızla özel gereksinimli bireyler ve aileleriyle gerçekleştirdiğimiz bu kamp dolu dolu devam ediyor. Kampımızda neler yaptık? Ailelerimize Aile ve Sosyal Politikalar Bakanlığımızın uzmanları tarafından verilen eğitimler gerçekleştirildi. Yine Kızılay'ımızın psikologları ailelerimize eğitimler gerçekleştirdi. 5 ayrı istasyonda halk oyunları, spor, görsel sanatlar, müzik gibi istasyon alanlarımızda faaliyetler gerçekleştirildi. Gezimiz gerçekleştirildi, tekne turumuz gerçekleştirildi. Silifke halkına engelsiz gönüllülerimiz aşure dağıtımı gerçekleştirdi. Dolu dolu bir 4 gün geçirildi. Tekrarını heyecanla bekliyoruz. Daha güzel kamplarda, nice güzel kamplarda, mutlu günlerde, renkli dünyalarda bir araya gelmek ümidiyle.
I always say when these technological issues happen, it just shows you how the importance of making things as accessible as possible, because the type of irritation that we're like, okay, now we can't see the video. Well, this is the reality of people with disabilities around the world, that they get to the door that isn't easy to open, get to the meeting that doesn't have subtitles, get to the conference where people don't really give you enough time to process what's happening, and all of those different impairments that we experience. So I didn't do it on purpose, but it is always a demonstration of what it can be like to have those different barriers to access. Hence all our motivation to be barrier free, if we can borrow Kizlai's wonderful phrase, and to have developed this process towards humanity for all. And we have so much potential and so much hope there, and we've heard so many great contributions from everybody. So thank you so much. I'll just leave it there, and we'll say thank you. Great contributions. We look forward to more discussions. Any last comments? So here, you wanted to say something? Or you're just saying goodbye?
I just want to tell you that I called Dr. Hatem and his secretary replied. He's sick and he's at the hospital, so we apologize for that. We hope that he will be better.
We do indeed. Well, we wish him to get well very soon, and especially hope he's able to access good medical care in Gaza, which is not the easiest at the moment. So wonderful. Get well soon, Dr. Hatem. We hope all will be well, and thank you again to everyone for being here, for speaking, for contributing.
Thank you all for this very good webinar.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you, and hope to hear from you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Looking forward to meeting you again.